Hello everybody, this is Salar and you guys are welcome to this exciting course on C Sharp. In this course, we are learning C Sharp step by step. The last lecture was all about learning differences between the top level statement template and the classic console template. We learned the differences between the templates and methods behavior in the templates. Like I told you in the previous lecture, this would be the last lecture on the method. When we started learning methods, I told you we would need approximately 10 lectures to cover all the concepts. So this is our lecture number 11 on methods. We did 10 or 11 lectures only to cover methods in C Sharp. One last thing that we need to cover or understand is the use of the generic methods. It's a very important concept. I will help you to understand generic classes when you start learning object-oriented programming. Generic methods are very interesting, and by using them, you can better utilize and reuse your code. Let's learn how do we code such methods and the use of the generic methods. We start with a normal method that simply prints a value. Method takes a parameter. Very simple method, and the job is only print the parameter value in the console. Now we can call this method in our main program. Send a value like this. In the output, you will simply see the hello string. Now, this print method is only capable of receiving a string value. Now let's say I also want to print an integer number, so I cannot use this method. I need to write another method like this. Now I'm going to change the type. Here you also see the concept of methods overloading, which we discussed in the last lecture. Both the methods have the same name but different parameters. However, the operation is the same. Now we can call the second print method like this. I can pass an integer value, let's say 45. After that, we have another requirement, and we also need to print character value. So we are forced to create another method for that can take character as parameter, and now we can call this method as usual and can pass a character to the method. So we have three methods, overloaded methods, and all of them doing exactly the same thing. The only difference here is they are working with different types. Is there any way to improve this code so that a single method become capable of receiving different types? The answer is yes. We have generic methods which can work with different types. So a generic method is simply a method that can work with different types using type parameters. Instead of having multiple methods for string, integer, and character, we can write a single method that works for all the types. And that method is generic. Let's see how do we code such method. I'm going to remove last two methods. Instead of this static and constant data type, I'm going to change it with a type parameter t. At the same time, right after the name of the method, I will open and close angle brackets and will provide the same type parameter inside the brackets. Now you will notice we have no error in our program, and all the calls with different types are simply accepted. Let's first run the program, check the output in the console so that we know method is capable of receiving different types. And so you see the output, right? All the parameters are received by the methods. Now, what does it mean? Character t in the basis and t instead of the data type. This character t is actually unknown data type, and it will automatically be changed by the compiler at runtime based on the type of the parameter. In the first call, the parameter is a string, so our compiler is actually calling this method like this. In the second call, the parameter is integer. Our compiler is calling this method like this, and in the third call, compiler will call the method like this. In the first method call, this character t is replaced by the string, and so this one. In the second call, character t is replaced by integer, and in the third call, character t is replaced by character. This is what happens in the background and everything is decided at runtime. You do not need to mention the data type here with the calling as long as you are working with a single parameter. Right? So we can simply remove the types. So this is a basic structure of generic method. Let's move on. Now we have multiple parameters. We have value 1 and value 2. And in the right line, we need to update our variables. Now this method can receive 2 parameters, but the type must be the same. That means we can send another parameter of the same type like this. And in the background, the calling should be like a string. So the tree is replaced by the string and they will get the same type. The second call will also do the same. We just need to put another parameter, let's say 60, and the same is here with the third call. So that was an example of multiple parameters of the same type. Now the question is, how do we do it when the parameters have different types? For that, procedure is the same. We will choose another type parameter character. Instead of t, we can use such as character u and then the name of the variable, for example, number. And finally, we will add the type character to the definition. Now we can give type parameter u a different type. So in our call here, the second parameter is integer and we can now pass an integer value. Let's say 45. A string is for type parameter t, that means these two variables are strings, and the integer is for type parameter u, that means this number variable is now an integer variable because of this call. As you know, the types parameter are initialized at the time of calling. That means there is no predefined type order. Now let's say if I put another integer number here, no error in the program, and this time our calling looks like int. So both the type parameters are initialized with integer. In the third call, let's say I also want to send a string as the last parameter. So I can simply put a string value here like this. This will be fine. And in the background, it will look like this. This is how we can code parameters of different types. But remember one thing, types are decided at runtime. Therefore, there is no predefined types order. Let's move on. Another thing that we need to understand is applying operations on the type parameters. Applying type-specific operations are simply not allowed on the type parameters. The reason is quite obvious. The compiler doesn't know the type of these type parameters until the program is running. For example, these two types are string because of this call, this first call. String literal has the length property, which is type specific. We can apply length property on string type, but not on the number type because property is type specific. Let's see what will happen if I try to apply length property on the string type. Our program shows an error. As you can see here, the error list says the type parameter t does not contain a definition for the length property. That simply means compiler doesn't know the type of this variable until the program is running. That's why we cannot apply type-specific operations on the type parameters. The same is true with the number type. Now, for example, the plus operation is a type-specific, and if I try to add number with number, our program will simply complain. So this is something you cannot do with the type parameters. You cannot apply type-specific operations. What is the solution now? The solution is find another way to do that. Overload the methods. If you want to apply type-specific operations, you can simply overload your methods just like we had before. Now, the last thing here before we wind up is the return value. The generic method can also return a value, and in that case, we need to specify the type parameter in the return part of the method's definition. For example, I want t as a return value. Now I can get type t value as return from this method. For example, return value 1 like this. And when we are calling, we need to assign the value to the same type of variable, a string result like this. And now we can print out the value in the console. On the other hand, if I want to get the number back from the method, I will change the type value from the return section of the method's definition, u, like this. And the variable name is number. I need to update the data type where I will be receiving the result, and that should be integer. No error in the program. As we run this application, you will see 45 in the console. Let's run the program and check the output. And so you're seeing the output 45 in the console. So my friends, that was generic methods in C#, and you will get more understanding of generic methods when you start learning object-oriented programming. You will learn to code generic classes containing generic methods and the use of the generic classes. That is now end of the methods section. We have learned each and everything related to the methods in C#. It's now time to move on with the course and cover some other important concepts. In the next lecture, we will discuss another concept which is called tuple. I will see you there. Thanks for watching this one.